Tonight, Iran blown apart, attacks escalating by the hour as Donald Trump vows the big one is still to come. Monster queues for petrol as the crisis hits home. Rates, bread and beer could be next. A stranger attacks 2 women, then is shot dead by police at Potts Point. Breaking news, the Kyle and Jackie O show is over, ending the richest radio deal in history. From port to prime real estate, a first look at the plan for more than 8,000 new homes on Glebe Island. The gamble doesn't pay off for Zach Lomax, the NRL star's career in limbo for years. And how Roosters star James Tedesco is benefiting from the recruitment of Daly Cherry Evans.
This is 9 News with Deborah Knight.
Good evening. The big one is coming. That's the ominous warning from US President Donald Trump as America and Israel ramp up their assault on Iran. The number of civilians killed is surging and spreading. Dozens dead in Lebanon as terror group Hezbollah was targeted in a fresh wave of rocket attacks.
The ongoing bombardment of Iran growing heavier, and the US president warning the big one is yet to come. The number of dead already in the hundreds, with targets in the heart of Tehran. Iranians waking up to a 4th day of strikes. This is their new reality, and it's relentless. Among the targets, the Islamic Republic state broadcaster, described by the IDF as the beating heart of the IRGC's machine of lies and repression. Israel and the US say the timing of this operation is crucial.
The reason that we had to act now, they started building new sites, new places, underground bunkers that would make their ballistic missile program and their atomic bomb programs immune within months.
This was our last best chance to strike.
It's been 1 day since Israel started striking Lebanon. Dozens dead as Beirut is bombed. Israel says it's targeting Hezbollah strongholds in the capital after the Iran-backed group fired rockets over its borders, explosions shaking much of the south. Highways gridlocked as thousands try to flee the violence. In the Israeli city of Beersheba, sirens sound in the seconds before a strike. That early warning critical, a direct hit on a building, yet there were no fatalities. 19 people were injured, mainly by falling glass.
Everything was shaking. Even in the shelter, you felt that everything is falling on you.
It's strikes like this that has left Israelis in fear. It's clear that drones and missiles are making it through the Iron Dome, and this damage and destruction is from one single hit.
Thank you to God that it's only, the windows and the doors and not our bodies.
For Israel, it's a war being fought with weapons and words.
This is a terrorist regime that has spread its tentacle and its proxies, its armies, its strategies all around the world. They've been in charge of killing people in the Middle East for dozens of years.
One such Iran-backed militia, the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, sharing this video, claiming it shows the launch of ballistic missiles and drones at US bases. The skies over the Middle East are crowded. Already, Qatar has intercepted 104 missiles, 39 drones and 2 fighter jets. Kuwait detecting at least 178 missiles and 384 drones, so there's a heightened risk of friendly fire. 3 American fighter jets taking on Iranian aggression, mistakenly shot down by Kuwait. All 6 crew members managed to eject, landing to mixed receptions. These locals, initially hostile, until the crewman identifies himself. Nearby,
you're fine? Really?
A far warmer welcome.
No problem, you're safe. You're safe. Everything good? No problem. Thank you for helping us.
An ever-expanding war, it's crippling, deadly, and there's no end in sight. In Tel Aviv, Mimi Becker, 9 News. The Israel Defense Force has confirmed it's launched early morning simultaneous targeted attacks against Tehran and also Beirut in Lebanon. Here in Tel Aviv overnight, it was a religious holiday and celebrations were forced to move into bomb shelters as sirens rang out and missiles were intercepted. As this war widens and attacks intensify, Israel is adamant that this is still a path to peace.
Mimi Becker with the latest. 6 US troops have now been killed in the conflict, with Donald Trump refusing to rule out putting boots on the ground. More military assets have been moved into the Middle East as all American citizens were told to get out.
America's heaviest artillery, the B-1 bomber, on a mission of destruction, matched by a menacing promise.
The hardest hits are yet to come from the US military. The next phase will be even more punishing on Iran than it is right now.
And Iranian warships are the latest in the line of fire. 11 vessels wiped out, more than 1,250 targets blasted by the US, including this ballistic missile. At least 2 people standing nearby disappear from the screen, and the military assault isn't slowing down. The Pentagon now moving more assets into the region. From the US president, a declaration of whatever it takes. In his first public event since giving the mission the green light, Donald Trump reiterating this campaign could last weeks.
We have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it. Whatever somebody said today, they said, oh, well, if the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this.
It was 3:38 p.m. in Florida on Friday when the US president gave direct authorization to launch this war. The Pentagon revealing his precise wording. Operation Epic Fury is approved, no aborts, good luck. And as dawn arrived in the Middle East, America surged to the skies.
More than 100 aircraft launched from land, sea, fighters, tankers, airborne early warning, electronic attack, bombers from the states and unmanned platforms, forming a single synchronized wave.
This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
The Pentagon and the president haven't ruled out putting boots on the ground in the Middle East, but amid an expanding conflict, a warning: American casualties will grow.
If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you.
A worldwide caution alert issued to all Americans, and the State Department urging citizens to get out of more than a dozen countries across the Middle East. Sirens blaring at the US Embassy in Jordan, while the embassy in Saudi Arabia has been hit by 2 suspected Iranian drones.
War is hell, and always will be.
In Washington, D.C., Lauren Tomazi, 9 News.
War with Iran has begun. Tonight, the question is, when will it end? The US president says fighting could last 4 to 5 weeks, but the reality is America is prepared for the long haul. Donald Trump promised peace through strength, and with the world's mightiest military at his command, his firepower is unmatched. But what the US president may run out of is political goodwill. He was elected on a promise of ending wars and has made a big deal of it. So if there's more fighting and more US casualties, with the midterm elections fast approaching, the political cost may become too steep.
Lauren, thank you. Iran's retaliatory strikes have hit 9 countries in one day of fury, spreading the war across the region and endangering Australian lives. Tonight, the impact is set to stretch beyond the Middle East. Here's political editor Charles Croucher.
Tonight, Iran and their proxies have increased the number of countries that are directly impacted by this war. These countries were attacked in the first waves of Iranian strikes. Now, drones have been intercepted in Cyprus, in the Mediterranean Sea, and significantly, 2 drones struck the US Embassy in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia. America and Israel continue to target Iran, but have also launched a major attack on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon that's prompted mass evacuations in Beirut. Tonight we have confirmation the Al Minhad airbase just outside of Dubai was struck by drone fire. This has been Australia's base in the region, known as Camp Baird. There are over 100 Australian service personnel in the Middle East, and all tonight are accounted for. Just to the north of Camp Baird is the Strait of Hormuz, a vital shipping lane that Iran today declared closed. 20% of the world's oil is shipped through the strait. That's roughly 1.5 million barrels per day and a further 300,000 barrels of jet fuel. Any restrictions on the strait will cause the price of both to rise, and that cost will eventually flow through to petrol bowsers and the price of flights, particularly out of Europe.
The number of Australians stranded in the Middle East is growing rapidly, the consular operation on a scale never seen before. A small number of flights have resumed out of the UAE, but across the conflict zone, uncertainty and confusion are growing.
The sights and sounds of war are so foreign to most Australians. And for Sydney woman Catherine Whitfield, who is stuck in Doha, it's becoming all too much.
I'm sorry if I cry. This is the unknown because it does seem to be escalating here, and I'm just not being able to get home.
Catherine should be on a tour in Italy. Instead, she's having sleepless nights waiting for information, hearing explosions.
You just lie in bed terrified. Do you get up, get down to ground level? What do you do?
Queenslander Natasha Z's trip to the Holy City was meant to be 3 weeks long. She's now preparing to be in Jerusalem indefinitely.
God willing, one day I will be back at Early Beach. Until then, I'll be keeping my eye on airspace, of course. But at the moment, I'm still doing my best to enjoy every moment of being here.
The number of affected Australians dwarfs any consular operation the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade has ever conducted.
It's estimated 150,000 Australians are now stranded in the region. DFAT opening up a registration portal on the Smart Traveller website. Penny Wong has spoken to her counterpart in the UAE. A very limited number of flights have resumed, but none to Australia.
The unfortunate reality is that an immediate resolution to this situation is unlikely.
Carriers are constantly changing their advice. Right now, Emirates is offering a rebook option if your travel is on or before March 20. Qatar Airways says people can make changes if their booking is on or before March 10.
We are going to do everything that we can to support our customers, whether it be through communication, working with our partners.
Communication, a major concern for Melbourne man Ali, awaiting word his family in Iran are safe.
We are worried about our families. At the same time, we are really happy. We were expecting this to happen.
Watching developments with trepidation and hope.
It doesn't come without the cost, but we believe that the painful end is better than endless pain.
Jessica Millward, 9 News.
Fallout from the Middle East conflict is so wide-reaching, it's threatening to worsen the cost of living crisis here at home. Beyond just the petrol pump, we're being warned the instability will drive up grocery bills, the cost of farming and interest rates.
Saudi Arabia's largest oil refinery on fire. Struck by Iranian drones, now it's shut down. That's more than 500,000 barrels of oil a day off the world market. And already the effects are hitting home. Drivers filling up before prices at the pump worsen.
In Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne, all three are at the top of the cycle.
all over $2 a litre on average.
There is no need to rush to the service station and fill up.
Shipments of oil aren't the only trade disruption. Qatar has halted liquid natural gas production due to attacks on its infrastructure, and a third of the global supply of urea used in fertilisers travels through the narrow waterway south of Iran.
That's what really hurts us as farmers. It just adds extra cost to our production.
Winter crops of wheat, barley and canola currently being planted are unlikely to be affected, but if the supply of fertiliser runs low over the next few weeks and months, the price of bread, beer and cooking oil could increase.
Panic buying won't help the situation.
The Reserve Bank governor saying the longer the war goes on, the bigger the impact on inflation.
With a supply shock occurring, we're in a situation where we already have high inflation. I think there is a risk that inflation expectations may start to move.
Inflation was already higher than we would like. But the conflict will exacerbate both of those challenges and could weigh on global growth.
Not only could that mean higher interest rates sooner, but a nightmare for the Treasurer. He's asked the competition watchdog to monitor petrol retailers for price gouging, but his entire budget is now hostage to unpredictable world events. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
And drivers are already rushing to fill up on cheap petrol while they can. Madison Scott joins me live from Earlwood. And Maddie, we're seeing long queues at Bowser's right across Sydney.
Deb, the Metro Petroleum here in Earlwood is selling some of the cheapest fuel right across Sydney right now, and people are certainly queuing for it. But even here in the past hour, we've seen prices for unleaded jump by 10 cents a litre. It's sitting at $1.60, but that is still 60 cents a litre cheaper than some of the most expensive petrol stations across Sydney. We're seeing prices as high as $2.20. So the advice tonight, Deb, is to shop around and fill up now.
All right, Maddie, thank you. In other news, 2 women have been attacked in their own Potts Point apartments by a stranger armed with a knife. Tonight, the actions of police are under investigation after the man was shot and killed.
Potts Point, and police know 2 women have been attacked. They just don't know where. But next-door neighbour Alex Dobell saw it all.
So look, I was sitting by the pool and I could hear a woman screaming for help.
Armed with a large knife, a stranger entered one of the women's units on the 3rd floor and attacked.
It sounded like he may have just come into the house and he surprised this woman.
The women, aged 48 and 56, managed to get out, badly injured but alive.
The first female had quite significant head facial injuries. The second female similarly had head injuries.
The man then barricaded himself inside. It was a 10-minute standoff with police.
Hey guys, move away please.
That ended when he attempted to jump out of this window.
And then they said, get the back in the house. And then they heard taser shots, and then they've dragged him away. And then next minute, I hear some gunshots.
The male was sighted, we were alleged, with a knife and threatened police. 1 round was discharged by a police officer striking the male.
Police and paramedics tried to save him, but he died before he reached the ambulance. So a critical incident has been declared. It means the actions of authorities will be investigated, in particular the officer that pulled the trigger, as those 2 women recover in hospital.
The police were responding to help people in distress. Unfortunately, today has found that someone lost their life, and that is tragic.
Alex Heinke, 9 News.
We have breaking news just in. The Kyle and Jackie O radio show is over. Damien Ryan has more from the newsroom. Damo, this ends a more than 20-year-long partnership.
Exactly right, Deb, and it seems to be a very bitter conclusion. A statement from the Australian Radio Network says Jackie O cannot continue to work with Kyle Sandilands after an on-air clash between the pair on the 20th of February. Now, Kyle's alleged behaviour on that day has been viewed as a serious act of misconduct. He's been given 14 days to, quote, remedy this breach. Otherwise, he will be sacked. The plug pulled on this partnership, which is worth $100 million each over 10 years. Now, Jackie O has been offered the possibility of an alternative show on Kiss FM, so we'll have to stay tuned, I think, Deb.
Yeah, well, that we will. Damo, thank you. Time now for a check of the day's weather, and it's a good evening, Belinda.
Hi Deb, grey skies over Sydney today with a few light showers. Most of the rain falling overnight since 9 a.m. Hardly anything recorded across the basin. The city and Richmond picking up the most, but only 0.2 of a millimetre. Top temperatures close to average for this time of year. The city climbing to 26.3 and just a tad warmer in our west. Another wet day over inland New South Wales as that rain band continues to move across the state. We've seen some huge 24-hour totals. Cowra receiving 81 millimetres. Bathurst, one of the wettest places today, recording 33 since 9 a.m. Sky gazers are in for a treat tonight, so how and when can we see the rare blood moon? I'll have all the details later in the bulletin, Deb.
Well, we'll see you soon. In the news ahead, bombshell twist in the Zach Lomax contract dispute. The NRL star blocked from joining the Storm. Hillary Clinton in the hot seat. The extraordinary Epstein deposition video. Australia's gender pay gap. The major companies falling behind. And a gangland hit at Guildford about to blow up in a firebug's face. A man in his 50s is fighting for life in hospital after he was found with serious injuries in Sydney's inner west this afternoon. Police say two men were seen dragging him before leaving the scene in Ashfield. A 38-year-old man has been arrested. Zach Lomax is tonight an NRL star in limbo, clubless after settling his legal battle with Parramatta. The Eels and Storm agreed to disagree on a transfer deal, meaning the representative player could be exiled until 2028.
He's one of the game's greatest players, but Zach Lomax might not play rugby league for another 2 years.
This has never been about Zach personally. It's always been about the contract, and it's always been about us standing up for what we feel is right for our club.
The Parramatta boss refusing to be steamrolled in a saga which began when their star winger was released to join Rebel competition R360 at the end of last season. When that fell through, Lomax set his sights on Melbourne, but a contract clause meant it had to be rubber stamped by the Eels. Both clubs rejecting player swaps and transfer fees, including a mammoth $750,000 offer from the Storm. The battle made it all the way to the Supreme Court, but today they agreed to disagree. The settlement of sorts, leaving Lomax in limbo until 2028. In a statement, the Storm said, "We are disappointed for Zach and for the game of rugby league." So the Melbourne deal is dead, but the Eels are willing to negotiate with other clubs if it can benefit their roster. With the NRL season already up and running, switching codes may be Lomax's only option.
We moved on really quickly, we had to, and we're preparing for a game this weekend.
Bit of rugby league poetry, isn't it, that we're playing the Storm on Thursday, but hopefully we can get it a win at Amy Park as well, and that'll be a nice way to wrap this whole thing up.
Tiffany Genders, 9 News.
The gender pay gap has narrowed, but major airlines and financial giants are still well behind. The average gap between all men and all women is 11.2%. Virgin Australia, the worst offending airline, followed by Qantas. Macquarie Bank's gap is 40.5%. Popular women's store Mecca a surprising 26.6%, greater than the big four banks. Men are 1.8 times more likely than women to be in the highest pay bracket, while women are 1.4 times more likely to be in the lowest. Up next, an elderly couple caught in a gangland hit. The Clintons grilled over their Epstein connection, the moment that sparked a storm out. Australian breakthrough, the simple test to detect ovarian cancer early. And why footy fans could soon be blocked from Brookvale Oval. The last of Sydney Harbour's working ports will be demolished to make way for a new inner-city suburb, creating thousands of new homes. And despite being hailed a game changer, there are concerns shifting concrete silos could push up construction costs.
high-rise on Sydney Harbour, 8,500 homes up to 40 stories, Glebe Island, to be transformed from working port to luxury living.
This is not just more homes for Sydney, desperately needed homes, but a world-class development as well.
Apartments lining Roselle Bay 2 with Glebe Island Bridge to reopen as a pedestrian overpass to Pyrmont, a new suburb serviced by a new metro, move-in date 2032.
This is a better use for prime waterfront land than a concrete works and a permanent car park.
But shutting down the port means shifting boat sheds, the Navy and Heritage Fleet to the cruise terminal.
There's just not enough space at White Bay.
The power station will stay, but cement silos will go, with major concrete, gypsum and sugar supplies pushed down to Port Kembla from 2030.
It will mean extra logistic costs, and that will be passed on to the consumer.
The cost of an apartment will go up by $50 as a result of rerouting concrete supplies to Port Kembla.
$270 million set aside to upgrade roads in and out of the Wollongong port.
The Premier wants to sell this supply as a win for housing affordability, but given the waterfront location, walking distance from the CBD, it's likely these apartments will attract sky-high prices.
Just 10% of these homes will be reserved for essential workers, and questions about our harbour's heritage are being laughed off.
Some of the heritage lunatics in Sydney can't slap one of these heritage orders on something that's younger than Steve. I mean, we have to be realistic.
Liz Daniels, 9 News.
A landmark moment for Western Sydney International Airport today, with a substation opening to power the giant complex. It's part of a $320 million infrastructure spend to supply the aerotropolis, plus surrounding industries and homes for the 1.5 million people expected to live there. A failed underworld hit has seen bullets fired at a Lakemba home, barely missing one man inside. In an attack straight out of the underworld playbook, the gang torched their luxury getaway car, almost lighting themselves on fire.
It's the botched end to a bungled hit. 4 men masked and making their getaway. One doubles back, nearly setting himself on fire. It's 11:45, Beaufort Street in Guildford. The gang scatter in all directions as their torch BMW threatens to ignite a neighbouring home.
You don't want that type of stuff around your area where you live. It's scary. There's an elderly couple that live right in front of where the car had blown up.
40 minutes earlier, the same group opened fire on a Lakemba home. One man inside escaped uninjured.
The offenders appear to have only made it to the front door of the premises, and the shots fired were at the front of the home. We've located at least 2 projectiles and 1 unspent cartridge at the scene.
So tonight, 2 key questions for police to answer: why this Lakemba home was targeted and who pulled the trigger. Senior police today fed up with what they've labelled dangerous acts of violence.
You can expect that somebody could be killed or seriously injured, and it's behaviour that won't be tolerated.
Bailey Kenzie, 9 News.
Bill and Hillary Clinton have been grilled under oath in video made public today. The former US president addressing photos of him in the Jeffrey Epstein files, his wife at times losing her cool.
Bill and Hillary Clinton in the hot seat. The former US president confronted with that photo in the hot tub.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
Did it concern you at all? I'm here not to offer my opinions. I'm here to answer specific questions to the best of my ability.
The Clintons each grilled for 4.5 hours over their links to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. She attended their daughter's wedding in 2010.
Did you ever have any sexual contact with young women or girls in the presence of Epstein or Maxwell?
No. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
You didn't have any feelings about young women massaging your husband? I am not going to offer opinions or speculation.
The former Secretary of State losing her cool over a leaked photo from during the deposition.
I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior. It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
Now that the recordings have been released of the Clintons' depositions held here in Chappaqua, there are growing calls for President Trump and the First Lady to also testify.
The president never, this is 20-something years ago, never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. He just didn't. He just said we were friends, and then we had a falling out over a land deal, property deal.
Other famous names in the files, also a line of questioning.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
At some point I knew that he knew Ghislaine Maxwell.
Have you always thought that women abused by powerful men should get justice? Yes, absolutely.
In the United States, Hannah Sinclair, 9 News.
France says it's increasing the size of its nuclear arsenal. President Emmanuel Macron making the announcement at a submarine base in Brittany, adding the country will now allow its nuclear-armed aircraft to be temporarily deployed to allied countries. Australian researchers are moving ahead in their mission to screen for ovarian cancer. The Queensland University scientists need hundreds of women across the country to donate their blood to develop a test to detect the disease in its earliest and most treatable stages. The aim is that by screening for microscopic bubbles released by cells, they can detect cancer signals and stop the disease in its tracks. Ahead in 9 News, $40,000 out of pocket. Dozens of drivers left high and dry after a car sales company goes bust.
And how Australian honeybees are fighting off drug-resistant superbugs.
And Matt's here with sport, where one thing the Roosters aren't short on is leaders.
Not bad, Deb, if you can get it. Good evening. The addition of Daly Cherry-Evans to their ranks brings a mountain of experience. James Tedesco explains how even he has picked up leadership skills from their former Sea Eagles skipper. Eels coach Jason Riles is keen to continue his recruiting spree, and he has an Origin star in his sights. And why the Rabbitohs are singing the praises of high-profile signing David Fafita.
And a gloomy start to the week, so when will the sunshine return to Sydney? I'll have the latest forecast for you shortly.
James Tedesco is one of rugby league's most experienced players, but even Teddy admits he's learning from Roosters recruit Daly Cherry-Evans. As the Chooks begin another mini new era, the skipper warns the new look spine could take time to click.
Goodbye Vegas, hello reality. The Bulldogs, Knights and Dragons touch back down in Sydney this morning.
See you later. No worries.
The Roosters will also start their season overseas against the Warriors on Friday. It will be former Sea Eagle Daly Cherry-Evans' first NRL game for his new club.
Gets a bit of stick for his age, but his experience and his knowledge of the game is what has really stood out to me and the boys. And it surprised me how well he trains for a guy who's 37 years old.
It's not just the younger players benefiting from DCE's worth.
I think I've definitely lent on him personally. He's been captain for a long time, captain Queensland for a long time as well. So his clarity in the way he communicates with our team is definitely something that helps me as a leader.
The addition of Reece Robson means the Chooks have half a spine that's new.
It's not going to be perfect straight away, but we've been working really hard on our connection, our combination throughout pre-season, and we know it's going to take some time, but I've been really happy with how it's been looking in pre-season and those couple of trials that we played.
I guess we've got a system at the Roosters that we've had for a very long time, even before I was here, and he's been really open with learning on how Robbo, I guess, coaches the side and how he wants us as a team to play. And
Sharks' new co-captain Blake Brayley is set to be the club's long-term leader, taking the reins until Cam McInnes returns from an ACL injury.
Yeah, it's funny. I sort of spoke to my family recently and probably didn't expect for me to sort of be a captain. I was sort of a quiet voice and quite shy coming through, and probably the last few years I probably really found myself.
Tom Marriott, 9 News.
With the Zach Lomax saga finally ending, the Eels have been left with cash to splash, and Parramatta's coach is dreaming big. Jason Riles revealing Blues enforcer Mitch Barnett is on his radar ahead of his return to Australia at the end of the season.
Jason Riles has orchestrated a dramatic roster overhaul in his short time at Parramatta, and he's not slowing down. Next in his sights, departing Warriors skipper Mitch Barnett.
Yeah, certainly someone we'd potentially look at, yeah. He's an origin forward. I think that's an area of our roster that we can certainly strengthen.
The big call of this pre-season was to sign Jonah Pezzett, who's been slowly building a combination with Mitch Moses.
They've had a fair few reps together. They've had a few little bumps in pre-season where they've missed parts of it.
Only 23, the former Storm star hasn't been afraid to be himself while playing alongside one of the game's best halfbacks.
Generally you hear him before you see him. It makes for a good dynamic, and it's always different personalities and how they gel together, and they seem to be working pretty well together at the moment.
There's no doubt in the Rabbitohs' minds that handing David Fifita an NRL lifeline was the right call.
He's just a different athlete, something I don't think the game's ever seen. Someone so big, so powerful, and so quick. I think he just brought a level of confidence to the team. Someone that brings another X factor like Latrell.
Keon Kaloamatangi already feeling the benefit of training alongside the enforcer.
He's my gym partner, so I've been trying to keep up with him. He's very strong, so I've been trying to push the weights with him a bit, and I've got the best out of myself.
Fellow forward Jai Arrow won't be playing with them for at least the first 6 weeks of the season, battling a long-term shoulder injury that specialists haven't been able to fix. Nicole Dunn, 9 News.
Isaac Heaney has paid star Swans recruit Charlie Curnow the ultimate compliment, comparing him to Lance Franklin ahead of Thursday night's season opener at the SCG.
I think for us, he brings that real presence down forward. It's sort of like I don't want to put any pressure on him, but like a bit of a buddy presence. Like he brings that. He's a real competitor.
And one of the Giants' long list of walking wounded, Josh Kelly, joined AFL boss Andrew Dillon and the Premiership Cup at Rosehill Primary School today. GWS face Hawthorn on Saturday afternoon. Well, flanker Charlie Gamble took a different path to play for the Waratahs, beginning his journey in subbies rugby instead of Shute Shield, revisiting his former club at Petersham today. Gamble credits the decision with saving his career.
I wanted to find my love for the game again and just kind of settle into Sydney. And yeah, this was a perfect platform for myself and really enjoyed it.
The unbeaten Waratahs host the Hurricanes on Friday night in club rugby round. The Matildas have snapped back after claims they didn't score enough goals in their 1-0 win over the Philippines, despite having 85% possession.
If the chances fall, we will finish them as best that we can, but our focus is to win the games. And if we win all our games in the group, then we don't have to worry about goal difference.
And due to the current situation back home, Iran chose not to sing the words to their national anthem. The 2022 finalist South Korea won the match 3-0 on the Gold Coast. Iran's next match is against the Tillies on Thursday. And Deb, somehow sport seems to trump everything, doesn't it?
Oh, I don't know. There's plenty going on in the world at the moment, though. Good on you, Matt. Thank you. Still to come, our market hammered, but one sector bucked the trend. Effie Zahos has the details next. Liquid gold, the Australian honeybees fighting superbugs. And the blood moon is back. Where and when you can get the best glimpse.
Reality bit the share market today. After holding steady yesterday, the ASX 200 copped a hammering. The only sector in the green was energy, with coal miners strong. Gas giants Woodside and Santos didn't benefit as much as you might think, given 20% of the world's LNG production was knocked out in Qatar. The Aussie dollar held its ground against most major currencies. And while the war's impact on petrol prices has been muted so far, keep an eye on diesel.
It jumped a worrying $22 a barrel overnight. It's currently trading 24% up. It's at $115 a barrel.
If passed on in full, that's another 22 cents a litre. And given half the country's diesel goes to filling up trucks that transport everything, it's only a matter of time before businesses pass those costs on to you.
Effie, thank you. The collapse of a car sales website has left at least 200 drivers out of pocket, some by more than $40,000. Car Connect called in the administrators on Friday, owing dealers hundreds of thousands of dollars and leaving customers paying off big loans for cars they might never drive.
By now, Lucas Silva Ramos hoped to be driving a brand new ride.
I was very excited.
The 24-year-old nurse paying for a GWN 10300 last month through Car Connect. The online platform brokered sales between buyers and dealerships, but on Friday it slid into voluntary administration.
It's just a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of stress.
Lucas put down a $1,000 deposit, then took out finance worth $47,484. Delivery was booked, but it never arrived.
I'm now sitting here trying to figure out whether I'm going to get a car or not, paying for a loan that is for a vehicle that I don't have.
Richard Ward adding almost $38,000 to his home loan to pay for his car.
I'd rather not think about it. It makes me feel sick. It's 40 grand.
When he called the Northern Beaches dealership, they said they never received the money.
It was then that they alerted me that we've now got 3 cars here on the floor awaiting payment from Car Connect.
The administrator finding at least 181 customers have paid deposits and 23 have paid in full, saying those orders which cannot be filled will convert to creditor claims.
Beyond seeking a chargeback from your credit card provider or your bank, the rule options are quite limited.
The administrator is trying to find a buyer for Car Connect to keep it in business. But if it sells, the question remains, how much can it claw back for customers and dealers left high and dry?
I'm just really worried.
Annalise Bolt, 9 News.
Manly fans are being warned Brookvale Oval games could soon be available to members only due to a surge in popularity. Sea Eagles CEO Jason King says repeated sellouts mean casual fans may soon struggle to secure a seat. Last week, the club sold nearly 1,500 memberships in just 48 hours. They may be small, but our humble honeybees are proving to be a powerful weapon against drug-resistant infections. A University of Sydney-led study finding honey made from native plant nectars could kill dangerous superbugs.
On a balcony out the back of Sydney University, these Australian honeybees are brewing liquid gold.
And see this bee with the purple dot on it? That's actually the queen. Oh, wow.
The study analysed 56 honey samples from 35 locations across New South Wales and Victoria, including areas ravaged by the 2020 bushfires, and found 3/4 of the samples made from native plants, including eucalyptus, tea tree and paperbark, destroyed dangerous bacteria.
These honeys that were from these different types of native plants had a cocktail of chemical compounds, and all of those things work together at the same time to kill the bacteria. So it's really unlikely that the bacteria will be able to develop resistance to honey.
The honey was tested against E. coli and golden staph, which can develop into antibiotic-resistant superbugs and become deadly.
There's been some predictions that about 1 person is going to die every 3 minutes over the next 50 years thanks to antimicrobial resistance.
The potency of the honey is what had researchers really excited. Even when less than 10% was diluted in water, it was still incredibly effective at killing superbugs.
The next step is to work out the best way to use the honey. Researchers think it will probably be used topically and applied direct to a wound, undiluted. It could also be used to treat chronic UTIs. Things like cuts, burns, scrapes. Those might sound like small problems, but they can actually be really major issues.
And given it has a known safety profile, the pathway to it becoming a treatment will be a lot quicker than a new drug. Some food for thought the next time you go to slather honey on your toast. Sophie Walsh, 9 News.
Coming up, Belinda with the weather.
Thank you, Deborah. Possible shower for Sydney this evening, sitting in the mid-20s, but feels warmer thanks to that muggy weather. Broly's getting our good workout over the next week. I'll have all the details after the break. Hello again, another cloudy day for Sydney with a few light showers. The humidity sitting above 75% for most of the day. Top temperatures close to average for this time of year. 27 for most of our western suburbs. The city stopping at 26 with mostly light winds. Tonight, stargazers right across the country are in for a real treat. If you're in Sydney, the partial lunar eclipse will begin at 8:50 p.m. By 10:04, the moon will totally be in the Earth's shadow. That's when it becomes a blood moon. also called totality. It will last for 58 minutes before heading out the other side by 11:02. The good news is you can see it from anywhere as long as you can see the sky. The only thing that will ruin it is if it's cloudy, and at this stage it is not looking promising for Sydney siders with that cloud expected to hang around. But let's hope it clears in time so we can all enjoy the last total lunar eclipse until the end of 2028. Tomorrow that heavy rain over New South Wales will ease, but more wet weather for the southeast due to that inland trough. So Canberra's in for another wet day with showers and top of 28. Cloudy skies over Melbourne and a cooler 22. A much warmer day in Brisbane reaching 30 with a possible shower. Fine and 27 in Adelaide, and Perth will be even hotter than today, heating up to 36 under sunny skies. Back home you can see where that rain is expected to fall. Scattered showers in the southeast with isolated showers across the eastern half and northern inland. Dry and partly cloudy elsewhere, and temperatures warming up. A top of 35 for Burke and Narrabri and 34 for Dubbo, which is about 5 degrees above the March average. On to Sydney, and the Bureau is now saying there's a medium chance of showers and maybe a storm in our west in the late afternoon or evening. At least the sunshine should be back though, with partly cloudy skies, allowing those temperatures to rise, reaching the low 30s in our west, and the city heading for 29 with some northeasterlies picking up in the middle of the day. On to the rest of the week, and Thursday will be fine in the city. Partly cloudy skies and a top of 29 degrees. Just a possible shower on Friday, staying around the high 20s. At this stage, it's not looking great for the weekend. Cloudy with a high chance of showers on Saturday and maybe a storm. Sunday, the wettest with 2 to 25 millimetres forecast. Some stormy weather on the way for our western suburbs. Less likely on Thursday. A shower or two and possible storm on Friday. Then a cooler weekend with cloudy skies and showers. So I don't think we'll be hitting the beach this weekend.
No, umbrellas instead. Good on you, Belle. Thank you. And that is 9 News for this Tuesday. Ali is next with the current affair. I'm Deb Knight. Thanks for your company. From the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.